Fight Time Network.
Since it's not a pay-per-view, we're getting some featured fights. One of us picked a good matchup. We like to see an excitement in the early prelims or prelims. Me, myself, I'm taking Unessi Dubin versus Carly Judice. Dubin coming in at 6-0 against Carly Judice. Anybody knows anything about Dubin? She's coming off a round one knockout in the Contender Series against Shannon Clark from up in Canada. But she's actually before that coming off every finish she's had professionally, or every fight she's had professionally, she has finished. Arm bars round one, punches, head kicks, overhand rights. One of the biggest upsets on the Contender Series, I would say almost ever, is when she knocked out Shannon Clark round one, a minute 13 in. This girl's
Oh,
coming right now to plus 285. I've taken one of my bets this weekend, Lee. What you got featured for you, my friend?
you know what features for me right away too, just because I like what the bets are, the odds are going to come out on this play. It's Josiana Nunez versus Priscilla Cachoeira.
Ooh.
And this is the first fight of the card. I believe it's going to be on the early prelims. Priscilla Cachoeira hasn't fought since UFC 297. She has been finished twice by Jasmine Jazavidius, and then she's also been finished before by Miranda Maverick. Josiana Nunez is a short, stocky Thai boxer who just closes that distance, gets in your face, and hits you hard. She's lost her past two by close decision. However, they were pretty questionable of, she's really getting in there. She's winning the rounds. She's making those hard shots count. And I think I think we're going to see a knockout here. I think she's going to finish Priscilla Cachoeira for her third time. And I love the line of her to win by KO or decision.
Oh, yeah. Good shit, Lee. Those are two featured bouts. Moving on to the co-main event, UFC Vegas 104. Shidi Njokuani. I have no clue if I just said that right.
It's a hard one.
Ugh, who knows? 24-10 coming in against Eliza Zaleski dos Santos, 25-8. Two very weathered fighters here, 38-36. 6'2" versus 5'9" here. God damn, 80-inch reach versus 73. Shidi Njokuani coming in as the underdog, if I am not wrong here. Plus 150. So this is a good both of these next two fights, really good parlay odds mix in. What you thinking about this one, Lee, this welterweight matchup we got going on this weekend?
You know what? I really like Zaleski in this, man. He's, proven to be reliable, and he's beating high-level guys. He's got a win over Benoit Saint Denis. He's got a win over Sean Strickland. And Chidi is unreliable. Chidi Nugent, I can never say his name right. It always sounds terrible. But he's unreliable.
I don't even know if I said it right, so...
He hasn't had a finish since 2018, and it was a rear naked choke. He's been finished like 3 times in a row. He's coming off a couple of decision wins. However, Zaleski's coming off a round one finish. And they're pretty well the same age, 36 and 38. And Zaleski, he's got the high profile wins. He's coming off the big round one knockout. And, he has put together a string of victories in the past, and he's an old dog vet, man. He's been in the UFC forever. He's been around since like 2014. He's one of the last of the old school guys, and considering his resume, I think he's going to add Njokuani to another one now.
In the end, I know Chidi has a big reach differentiation and the height here. But Zaleski, like you said, did beat Benoit Saint Denis. That was even when Benoit was a little younger.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he beat BSD on the come up, man.
Yeah. Before he gets slept by Poirier. Has he fought since Poirier?
I don't think so. Hanato Moicano?
Might have. Yep,
Yeah.
Moicano. That's true. But I'm gonna go with you here. I just think Njokuani, he's just too unreliable, and he's not gonna. You can't rely on him to be able to keep the distance and be patient and keep that game plan. I feel like DeSantos is gonna end up closing the distance here and catching him. I don't necessarily even seeing it go decision, truthfully. It's either gonna be Chidi's gonna keep on the outside going decision, or DeSantos will finish him. Is where I'm looking at here. It's gonna catch him good. Moving on to your main event, UFC Vegas 104. Marvin Vettori, man, we ain't seen him in a while. 19-7-1 against Roman Dolidze, 14-3. One of those three losses, Lee, that Dolidze got on his record, I don't know how many people know, is from Marvin Vettori in the past. Dolidze's getting up in there in age. Man, you remember when he was just killing people? Oh, he just got done stopping Kevin Holland after the first round, beat Anthony Smith 2 years ago. Marvin Vettori beat him by decision. It was a really close fight. It really was. There was only about 20 to 30 strikes, differentiation between the two, zero takedowns landed. What do you think about this, big boy Lee?
You know what? When I first ran the stats, I was liking Marvin Vettori. That minus 150 really made sense. I thought it would be a pretty larger.
Yeah.
Then I'm only one fight deep in the tape that I was going to watch because I might put this up as a bigger bet because I was leaning heavy towards Vittori after I saw the stats. Love the low odds. As like, okay, I watched their fight back. I think there was a good argument, even though it wasn't on the judges' scorecards, that Dolidze won that fight. Man, maybe you give the second round to Vittori, but I think he won rounds 1 and 3. Dolidze was coming in forward. He was hitting him hard. The stats don't reflect this because those punches were coming off of Marvin Vittori's shoulders, and Marvin Vittori was landing some counters. However, the power of Dolidze was noted, and at the end of round 1 and end of round 3, Vettori was running. You could see that. And then when they interviewed him afterwards, Vettori didn't really, you could see it in his eyes. He really didn't think he won that fight when he was talking to the commentator afterwards. Then you add that with Dolidze has had a really active 2024, and Vettori hasn't been in the octagon since he lost to Jared Cannonier. Dolidze is on a couple of win streaks, and his only goes his loss back to it was to Vettori, which he was
Yeah.
really close. Dolidze's on the rise, and this is Vittori's redemption plus, and this is a huge thing that I don't know if it's true or not. I've just heard it from a different sources through the vine of social media that Vittori's nursing a shoulder injury.
Interesting. Gotcha. I mean, Marvin Torres 3 for 3 in his last six fights since 2021. He didn't even fight last year. He's supposed to fight Brandon Allen. That got canceled. Is it from his shoulder from when he canceled with Brandon Allen last year?
It's hard to really say. There's nothing that confirms that from a
Yeah.
direct source from the Vittori camp, but there's rumors buzzing around the capping sources that Vittori is in fact injured.
Interesting. That makes this fight totally different. And last year he didn't fight, backed out. I can't remember if that was from an injury or what the detail was from that either. He's only 31, but man, I feel like the weight class is really passing him up. Who would have ever thought it was him versus Roman Dolidze in
Mhm.
2025?
I mean, he's only 31, but he lost a 5 rounder to a then 38-year-old Cannoneer.
But when you look at it, really, what has Roman Dolidze done since he lost to Marvin Vettori? Knocked out Kevin Holland, who hasn't beat him lately. Anthony Smith went 3 rounds with him. and hasn't. He's only fought twice since then.
Yeah.
Beat Jack Hermanson, Phil Halls, Kyle Dawkins. What's this weight? Is this at middleweight? Yeah. Oh.
But I think being out for the length that Vettori was out, he's not going to be able to beat Dolidze in the same way that he did last time because Dolidze was throwing heavy
Mm-hmm.
nuclear bombs at him. It was just Vettori was able to see it. Vettori was able to counter it. Vettori was standing right in front of him. He was getting hit by a couple of these, but every time Vettori would move, they would just bounce off his shoulders and Vettori would be able to get a couple of his strikes off. So it definitely, I don't know if that same approach being laid off is going to lead to the same path of victory. I mean, if he has another game plan to beat Dolidze, which ultimately, judging by the way he looked when he was interviewed after their first fight, he knew it was close. He knew he didn't
Got you.
perform the way he wanted to. So with Vettori, he is a high level athlete. He has fought for the championship. You could see it in his eyes. He does recognize these things about himself. So if he changes up that game plan to the point, maybe even he wrestles and backs him up the way it is. But I mean, Vittori's always game. He fought Paulo Costa at 205
Yep.
on short notice. So it'll be depend. But I think if he plays the counter game against Dolidze a little bit too much like he did last time, it may cost him.
Vittorio somehow pulls those close ones out too. Not gonna lie. Mm. I can't believe he went 5 rounds with Costa. What a dog. Man, I wish that boy would just, if that boy could just put his head down and quit being a kid, Costa, he just, he likes to have fun.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't know here. I looked at this one earlier too, and I could not come up with a pick. I'll ride the gravy train with you. On to the leads, eh? I feel like he's going to be the one to take better notes and come up with a better game plan from their first fight. He's been in the cage a couple times since he lost.
Yeah.
Vittori really has not at all. So really, what's he been able to work on? He hasn't been able to test anything he's learning in his gym. I'll go with Roman Dolidze with you on this one, my friend. Who wins the main
Absolutely.
event?
If he finds a way to touch him a few more times with those bombs, and I mean, maybe Vittori's the sharpest he's ever seen him, and his counters are on point, and he comes back and he has an answer for each one of them. But Dolidze hits hard, and he had Vittori running the last time, so I have to. I thought Vittori at first, but I mean, I'm leaning hard towards Dolidze.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And that is y'all's breakdown for UFC Vegas 104 this Saturday. We will see you all next time. Fight Time Network.